The problem of noise pollution and what to do about it. Welcome in, much love, Trav here. Beautiful day out here in Humboldt in Arcata. And I wasn't planning on making a video about noise pollution in society in the 21st century. And it's been a problem in the 19th century and the 18th century. What we can do about it societally and what we can do about it individually. But I've got to make it. Because you can hear in the background machines, beeping machines. And I'm not so mad about it because they're remodeling the park here, they're redoing the trails and so on. But I do notice that for me, it makes it harder for me to focus, it makes it harder for me to think. And I know that in my video there's going to be a beeping in the background. Beep, beep. And some of you haven't really thought about this. I don't want to make your life worse if you aren't aware of it, but that's why I'm providing solutions of how to make it better. But noise pollution is a real thing that affects people, and there's science and studies on this. And let me explain it to you from a musical perspective. Well, first of all, if you can hear the birds singing, also wind blowing through, and that's cool. But we're very mathematical creatures. I'll tell you a little bit about music if you don't know. We really like doing math. So we have what we think of as C, this beautiful musical note being 432 or 440 or 440 vibrations per second, or hertz, you could call it. And then it sounds nice when if you have another C on top of that, you double it, 880 or whatever. And then the fractions in between. So a major chord that evokes and actually creates a certain level of emotion or something, or happiness. You know, there's certain chords that just sound good and sound bad and actually create certain emotions. Those are mathematical arrangements. And when you have planes coming overhead, this is something I really noticed in Seattle, that are playing at 223 hertz. And this one's at 119, and they're all out of tune. It actually creates a mood, and I believe that contributes to the Seattle freeze. Here, if it's just a beep, 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 well, it sounds like an alarm clock, but it's also beeping at a certain note. And if I want to sing, one of the things I like to do when I'm biking around down here, if I want to sing, suddenly my singing is out of tune with the beep that's happening. The beep throws it off. So it's a real thing where if you're out in nature and there isn't noise pollution, then there aren't these anchor sounds that throw you off. Whereas if you're in the city and there's all these sounds, it actually makes it hard to sing in tune. You can't do it because there's other stuff going, or there's basically music playing in the background at a dissonance. And it's not just stuff overhead, like you can have your microwave and your refrigerator all humming together, and they might be playing fucking devil tones, you know, like tritones and stuff that you don't realize is making you feel a certain way. So there's also rhythm, right? There's a few thoughts on this. For one, something that interesting that people found is if you set music to a certain BPM, beat per minute, the heart will come to that, or to double to that, or some fraction of that. Like house music will be set at 120 or 130, 132, and then you start jumping up and down to that, and your heart rate will be at 132. Or if it's some slower music, it comes down. So if there's something beeping at 90 times a minute, where my resting heart rate should really be in the range of 60, 50, it's making me more anxious and nervous. So some of you might be thinking, okay, Trav, that is, you're being neurotic and so on. Well, I am, but a lot of people are, and this affects a lot of people, and a lot of people don't notice it. So here's some solutions. The first one is, and this is societal, I don't actually plan on really changing society or thinking this will happen. So this is just my thought on this, and then we'll go into what we can do as individuals, because I think that's more under our control. I would like to see more restrictions on noise pollution. I don't think you should be able to slap on a beeping thing to construction unless it's absolutely necessary. Trucks, for instance. There is some noise regulation, but there's also a lot that's not. Like, Seattle would be a much nicer place to live if either planes had more noise regulations, or if there was, or if the track was rerouted to outside of the city. It's like Elon Musk said, he's not working on flying cars for his vision of the future. He's working on underground tunnels for cars. And he said one of the reasons why, and one of the real reasons why, is a bunch of cars flying over your head is not going to reduce your level of anxiety, right? It's not going to make for a better future. And that's what you have in Seattle and certain other cities where it's just planes overhead. So if I was in power, I wouldn't, I recognize like economy needs to function and so on, but I would be wanting to be regulating noise pollution just like we're regulating air pollution, right? A lot of what was legal in terms of shit you can spew into the air is illegal. That was legal not too long ago, and I would treat noise pollution as the same way, because it has the same level of, I believe it has the same level of effect on health and well-being in society and so on. Now, what can we do as individuals? Well, say that you're in the city and you have no plans of leaving the city. When you're outside, you can listen to shit on headphones. I mean, that's what a lot of us do. Like, I'm outside, I'm gonna put in my headphones. I'm gonna listen to music to drown the shit out, or I'm gonna listen to some kind of podcast or interview or something like that. I think that that's a reasonable thing to do. And then when you're inside, you also wanna, before you pick up an appliance, you should think about what sort of vibration it's making. I'm not saying to go out and get a tuner and make sure all the shit's in tune, because you can't really do that, but you don't want your kitchen, you don't want to be sleeping in your kitchen where all the shit's humming. You can go to your room, and then I recommend putting on some kind of a white noise, something that feels right. You can tune it, or just something that feels right when you're sleeping or when you're working. I like to put on a space heater on low. This works in Humboldt because of the temperature, but you can put on something from your phone, or I don't like to keep my phone in my room for other reasons, but that's something to think about. Is if you have a static, then you can have a machine just designed for this. You put on some static and it will actually drown out the pollution. And then I also recommend getting off into nature if you can. I'm not saying you have to move out there, but if you're in the city, you'll be very refreshed if you go out to the middle of fucking nowhere and it's so quiet. It'll let you think in ways you haven't been able to think recently. It'll give you a lot of clarity and be healthy and refreshing. So, plan a camping trip out somewhere into the woods, or plan a trip out to somewhere remote. It's one of the reasons that I moved down here. Obviously, this is not a full solution because there's still a lot of construction. But again, they're remodeling the trails and they'll probably be out of here. It's not a permanent thing. They'll be out of here soon enough. And otherwise, it's quite nice down here. There's some noise pollution, but not so much. So I hope you found that helpful. Again, I don't mean to just complain, and I don't mean to make your life worse by creating some new problem that you hadn't thought about. But I think it's worth talking about, and it's worth bringing up some solutions. So that's what I think. Like headphones, listening to stuff, being deliberate about what sort of background sounds you have going in while you sleep or while you study, and see, I can hear a plane downshifting over here, and when there's two, it's like I want to sing. Good luck with that. It's creating a dissonance in the brain and it's distracting. We'll move out here where I don't have to deal with it as much, And then hopefully we'll be out in the Big Island, Hawaii, next month, where you go down to the very corner in the south and you're not going to see a plane. It's going to be sweet. Corner of the east, southeast. And society, you know, I hope that it becomes as regulated as air pollution, because I'm not sure that we really have the studies, but I bet you it's got very, very strong effect. So let me know what you think on that. Agree, disagree, important, not important. Leave a comment down below. I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say. Much love. Peace.